Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are doing a little special. So no gameplay, no testing or anything, but I have heard, or from a couple of people have asked, how about the Warhammer 40k content? Now, I am not a massive fan of crossovers, as in at all. So I generally tend to ignore these things. But given that, well, A, you've been asking me, and B, I have just seen that things are, well, I would call it somewhat discounted. So apparently you can get, these are bundles. These are not gambling crates, right? So like this one, you get all of these things. You get 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 4 tier 8 premiums. So that's relatively significant, I would say. So what we'll do is we'll have a quick look purely at the numbers. I haven't tested any of these ships. I can't be seen dead in any one of these things. It's not that I don't like Warhammer 40k. It's just that I don't like it in my World War II battleship game. I'm perfectly happy to look at Warhammer 40k things, and I would be complaining if I would start seeing Bismarcks and Yamatos there as well. Anyway, let's have a quick look at what these ships are, because I've never looked at them, and I'll give you my opinion purely on the numbers, if these are probably worth it or not. So, we are beginning with this thing. This is German, apparently, so it's either a Bismarck or a Tirpitz. And we've got 2 ship skills. We've got a radar, okay, that's actually not completely useless. And we have a special skill that increases secondary range by 20%, and you've got 4 charges of that. So that's kind of like a super secondary overload. We'll have to compare that to the actual secondary overload. But what we shall be doing, hang on, no, I need to go here. And we'll be adding that thing. And no, we're not looking at that, not yet at least. And we are going to, actually I can't do that in here by now, I think. I can just use the filter here. So we will be looking at German tier 8 premiums. I hope it's a lot of them. We might as well just throw that thing in as well, because that's eventually going to come up. And then we have the Queen of the North, the Tirpitz. So let's compare these 2 things. Now, Tirpitz, you obviously get sonar, which helps with torpedoes, but not so much with smoke screens unless they're very close by. And she gets precise aim, and she gets the secondary overload, which increases reload speed and firing range by 25%. So this is 20%. Nobody cares about the AA range, but secondary gun range. So this is not reload, but just range. So I would say, given that you've got four of them, that compared to the 1 on the Tirpitz, that is, I'd say that's a decent trade here. Statistics-wise, is there any difference between the 2 ships? There's not. So this is a Tirpitz with a slightly different secondary overload and a radar instead of the sonar precise aim. Not a bad thing. I'd say if you don't have a Tirpitz and you wanted one and you don't mind it looking like, well, that, then sure. So how about the Cross of Dawn? I don't know what that is, but let's have a look at that thing. Actually, let's have a look first and see what that actually is. So not this one. That would be, it's a little difficult to see. Yeah, that one. So this is, that actually has triple turrets. Triple guns. So that's not a Tirpitz. What is this then? That's an Odin. That matches. That's an Odin. So this is an Odin, but with 25% AP pen power increase. Well, that's why they use the Odin as a base for that, because the Odin only gets 3 or 5s, I think. And HE shell damage by 10%. Why would you care about HE shell damage? Why would you ever fire HE with an Odin? There's no need for that. The AP is good enough as it is. So you get 75 points of damage on the HE, and you get 25% penetration power. Now the Odin can and will, if you know how to aim, perfectly fine penetrate decks of things, but the Odin is obviously a secondary monster. So she gets a Def AA, which is a really funky choice, because I think the AA on the Odin, well, I mean, it's not bad, but it's nothing to write home about. And these obviously the secondary overload. So let's actually compare that, which means we need to go back again and find ourselves the Odin and add that to the mix. So these two, so you do trade the precise aim, but you get an extra secondary overload, and you get Def AA instead of the sonar, which is distinctly less useful than the sonar in my opinion. And you get the AP buff, but you only get kind of 2 of them. So this is the 25% for secondary overload 2, and this one only does 20, but you've got 2 of them. Other than that, it appears to be, yes, once again, so we don't even need to look at the numbers. So that's an Odin. Actually, one thing we need to check, do they get special camos? So let's have a quick look at that. So if we look at this thing, it comes with a camo. We're gonna actually have to compare these as well. Okay, so this is the only camo that you can use, and you cannot not use it. So that's permanent, and it's stuck to it. Hit points, range, and dispersion, and torpedo damage reduction. Okay, comparing that to the Tirpitz's camo. Let's see. So this one gives secondary range on the Tirpitz, which is distinctly more useful, and torpedo range, which is also more useful. So camo-wise, I would say the Tirpitz is a better choice here. How about the other one? Which one was it? This one, right? Yeah, this one versus Odin. So this is hit point, range, dispersion, torpedo damage reduction. It's the same story again, whereas the Odin's historical camo gives main battery range, dispersion, and torpedo damage. So it's the same thing. So that's basically the same, unless you want to use the, unless you want to look like some giant golden bird has decided to perch on the top of your conning tower, and which is really annoying because this is the better camo. Like by far. It gives 6% range and on both secondaries, and the Odin has tier 10 auto secondaries. So, and it gives torpedo range. This is significantly better camo, and still I would not be found dead in this ship looking like that. But yeah, so the camo's definitely better so far on the stock ships. Now, that's those. Let's go to the other ones and let's see what we can find there. Where was it? Here. So what is this then? Yeah, that's probably supposed to be orcs, and no, I'm not gonna make that joke if you look at the flag, because it's tasteless. Inspired by Warhammer 40k, so this is a Vladi, yeah, that's a Vladivostok. So you get you get a single use of a thing that gives you 13% speed, 23% main. This is completely chaotic, isn't it? Yes, it's meant to be chaotic because this is chaos fractions. Increase main gun reload speed by 23% and main gun turning speed by 19% for 83 seconds, but reduce main gun accuracy at the same time. So this is a brawl. This is a shout very loud and start brawling people sort of skill that you can use once off. Other than that, we don't need to look at the skills. It's a completely. But we can put them next to each other because I can't remember what the Vladivostok was capable of. So if we go Soviet tier 8 battleships, why am I not Soviet? There she is. So interestingly, that's a tech tree variant. So it's not the Lenin, it's the Vladivostok. So let's add that to the list, compare the two. Vladivostok gets the precise aim, and otherwise they are, yep, once again, completely identical. So you get a Vladivostok minus the precise aim, but with some kind of a brawling Vladivostok. That's maybe not a terrible proposition, because these things are, well, they're not super well armored, but they're not absolutely terrible either. So maybe. Camo comparison we have to do. Hang on, how do I do that? Okay, I am confusion. How can I? Oh, actually no, I can't look that here. I need to look that up here, and it's there, and there's the camo. Yeah. So hit points, range, dispersion. Okay, standard battleship camo, and I think it's going to be the same on the Vladi. If we look there, Yep, standard baby camo. We can get this one, which does the exact same thing, but just looks different. And I mean, this one, I'd almost say that's not terrible, but it does the exact same thing. So camo-wise, it's the exact same story. So you're basically getting a premium Vladivostok without any further ado. So, not really feeling that one. What else is in there? Where was it? Special offers. Because the bundles are obviously not in the bundles tab. Thank you. Why would I assume them to be there? So the last one we've got in the row here is a Japanese one. And since that's tier 8, that's probably an Amagi. So probably, yes, that is an Amagi. And she gets a special skill, which is max speed by 5%, inconsequential, main gun accuracy and reload speed by 10%. Okay, for 60 seconds, you get 2 of them. So you get basically accuracy by 10%. That's not even a precise M1, but you get a 10% reload buff. So the accuracy is pretty much irrelevant here. It's worse than on the actual Amagi, but you get kind of the 10% reload buff, which is not a rapid reload either, because that only shaves off like 2 seconds or something from it. No, I don't think so. Unless the camo does something super special. This is a standard battleship camo. So given that, again, oops, I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry, no, never mind. Let's do that again. There it is, that thing. Range, dispersion, reduction. Yeah, no, it's the same thing. So I would say let's quickly check the other bundles, because there were more bundles. What is this giving us? This is just the same thing. I think it's just these 4 ships, honestly. These are just the individual bundles with the portraits and shenanigans, or you can get everything for 1. Is it worth it? I would say the Odin and the Tirpitz version probably yes. I mean, the Odin is a great ship, and that's not that far off from the Odin. So they're literally the same ship with a different skin, right? But if you have an Odin, you don't need that. If you have a Tirpitz, you probably don't need that either, unless you are a big fan of Warhammer 40k. But if you're not, this is not a terrible offer. I mean, 8,500 gold. If we look at the, unfortunately I can't look because I'm already owning all of them, but because it's the press account. But I think tier 8 premium clocks in more than that. So that is not a bad offer if you're in the market. Especially the Odin is a great ship, and if you like these sort of things, and I'd say they're pretty much on par, like with a slightly different flavor, but not super different. And obviously, if you, they are still premium ships. So if you just want a bunch of premiums for these respective lines that you can use for captain trainers and just generally having fun and similar things, getting the whole thing for 22,000 gold is probably not a bad offer. So if you, this is not peanuts, but this would probably be about 100 Australian. So still, that's a package. This comes with a bunch of, with 2 captains. No, that's a portrait. So with 1 captain who is not having any specific legendary things, and I think the rest is a couple more captains, but none of them have any legendary skills. So they're just kind of again giving flavor to the whole thing. So I would say, if you're a big fan of Warhammer 40k and you would love to have these ships, or if you just generally will like German premium battleships, and Tirpitz is getting a little old, but the Odin is definitely a competitive ship, I would say. It's not a bad offer, and it's at least with the discounts on here, it looks relatively reasonably priced. So I would say, that's probably worth it to get. Personally, I will not, but that's just preference. Right. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks, everybody. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.